Hey everyone, this is Joel Morales with Ai.Informed, and today we're going to be discussing how computer vision, a subset of artificial intelligence, is going to help save the world of business billions of dollars in the years to come. That's right, folks. Computer vision. It is here, it is now, and little by little, it's eventually going to be everywhere. So, what is computer vision? Well, computer vision is a form of artificial intelligence that enables cameras the ability to see and also process and analyze what they are seeing. This is different from traditional camera feeds, which are just simply a video input where they're just receiving video data and it's being shared on some kind of a screen, watched by some kind of human. And that's been the traditional type of camera experience. But now with computer vision and artificial intelligence is now adding process analysis, it's adding intelligence, it's adding reasoning to cameras and giving them the opportunity to really understand what they are seeing. And this is a huge new frontier. Now, of course, this has been a technology that isn't totally new. It's been around for some time, but the adoption of artificial intelligence within computer vision is really starting to take off. There are more and more organizations that are providing this kind of technology, where now it is giving the world of business, the world of healthcare, the ability to now have real machine reasoning and apply machine understanding to the images and videos that it sees, which is really, really exciting. It's also a little bit nerve-wracking for some people because, of course, the more that cameras become intelligent, well, the less people have room to get away with stuff. So, it is exciting for most, nerve-wracking for some. And me personally, I think this particular kind of technology is really going to help transform the world that we live in. I mean, there is no going back from what computer vision is going to bring to the world. And I'm really excited too because, it was just like 20 years ago. I remember I was a kid watching Minority Report, the Tom Cruise movie. And I remember seeing how, 20 plus years ago, there was the ability for the camera to do facial recognition on people and identify people in a crowd based off of their retina scans. And I remember looking at this, and this was actually science fiction just 20 years ago. And now, within the past decade or so, we're actually seeing this technology become a reality. So I want to talk a little bit about first on how to define computer vision. What is it? What are its current capabilities? And that way we can really understand where the technology is today. So, of course, I brought my notes with me for this session. And I want to talk a little bit first about image classification. So I'm going to use the example of a street light camera on an actual street light intersection, like at an actual road intersection. And let's just imagine that one of those cameras has computer vision built into it. Well, image classification is actually the ability for a machine learning model, a machine learning model to classify images based on its content. So what does that mean? If we're at a stoplight and there's a camera and it has computer vision enabled to it, it will be able to determine, hey, this is a taxi. This is a truck, right? It'll be able to, based on the image that it's looking at, it'll classify what the object is inside the image frame. Now, this is not too different from how humans learn to identify things based on what they look at. I have three beautiful children. And I remember when my oldest was just 2 years old. He's older than that now. But he would be able to point at something and say, juice, or toy, or, he had this one, like particular teddy that he loved. So he would just teddy, like he can point and identify something. He could classify something based on what he sees. We have now been able to mimic that human capability with computer vision inside of cameras. And so image classification is the basis of all computer vision. It is what gives computer vision the foundation of its understanding on the data that it receives, image classification. The next thing that's important to note is something called object detection. And object detection is the ability for now, within a certain camera frame, within a certain, like recording, it not only can classify, one image at a time, but it can detect different objects moving all around within the same frame. So now it's not just looking at one picture and being able to classify what it is, but now it's detecting different objects all next to each other, all operating in real time. So let's go back to that example I used about the streetlight corner camera. Well, that camera can determine, hey, this right here is a human with a stroller that is walking across the street. And it could also determine that this right here is a person on a bicycle riding on the sidewalk. And there goes another truck, and there goes a semi-truck, and there goes a taxi. And it could start to detect objects within the frame all at once. So now it's not just using the ability to classify, but now it's essentially as it grows in its understanding and it's exposed to more objects, it becomes more intelligent over time. That's the cool thing about computers, is that when you introduce an object, a new object to the computer, it'll save it, store it, and then the more kinds of objects that look similar to that original object that you introduced to the learning algorithm, it'll then sharpen its ability to detect it in future recordings. So this doesn't just apply to objects, this also applies to behaviors and patterns and actions, and even down to people's facial responses, which we'll get to here in a second, which is really, really cool. And then one more thing that I really want to share that is really exciting about computer vision is, of course, face detection and facial recognition. Now, this is going to have just huge use cases around every industry. Any industry that can interact with a human's face is now basically good to go as a use case for this, because from criminal justice system, that now we can determine based on our camera search that if we're looking for a criminal at large, we can start to make cameras now more intelligent in finding criminals that are on the run from the law and bringing them to justice. We could use facial detection now for understanding, how to secure different people, right? If a child is kidnapped and we need to try and find a particular person, a particular child, we could use facial recognition on cameras to now have thousands, if not millions of pairs of eyes looking for that one lost child. I mean, this is going to bring so much more capability to the criminal justice system, to healthcare, to really any industry that relies on cameras, and facial recognition and detection is going to be huge. And it already is here. We're already doing this, but I just wanted to take the time to just explain the capabilities of computer vision and where things are at right now. Now, Of course, I mentioned earlier how we are in a world where this is going to apply to business. This is going to apply to the world of industry. And I want to talk a little bit about how this works and how computer vision is now finding its way into retail and finding its way into healthcare. And what are some of the financial benefits of this technology? So first and foremost, I want to address how computer vision is going to impact one particular area for retail. And this first area that it's going to impact is the area of theft and shoplifting. So as of 2022, so of course this data is a little bit out of date, but in 2022, $112 billion were lost in the retail sector due to shoplifting and theft. $112 billion. This was up 19% from the year prior, which was back in 2021. Retail stores across the country lost $93.9 billion. So in 2021, $94 billion were lost due to shoplifting and theft. In 2022, $112 billion were lost. And I don't have the 2023 numbers, but I can only imagine that this is still in the high hundreds of billions of dollars, right? This is now reached, over $100 billion problem for retail. Now, the question is, how can computer vision help solve this problem? Well, it can do a number of things. Number one, you remember how I told you how cameras can now detect certain patterns, behaviors, and activities? Well, that can be applied to someone who takes a certain phone off of let's call it a display phone or a display device. Let's say they take it off of a certain shelf that it shouldn't be removed from, and they put it into their pocket. Well, that right there, that kind of behavior, the computer vision inside of retail cameras that, should a retail store have this kind of technology, it can automatically, without needing a human to be able to see the computer, the monitors and be able to identify it, the computer vision can now identify the act of crime, and it could do a number of things. It could notify the management of the store by which the crime is taking place, or it could automatically notify the police department and get police officers involved. So this is going to help, really cause the $100 billion problem of theft and shoplifting to go down, because we can now immediately detect a certain kind of pattern or a certain kind of behavior that's out of, legal shopping norms, and then immediately respond to it. So we can immediately detect crime with computer vision and immediately respond. And so this is huge. This is huge, and this is helping solve like I said, $100 billion problem. Now, that's just one example. That's one example in retail. Another example in retail that I thought was really cool is using computer vision inside of retail store cameras for facial sentiment analysis. Now, this is just super cool. Facial sentiment analysis is the ability for cameras to be able to look at a shopper's face inside a retail store and be able to determine if that shopper is having a good experience or a really bad one. And so now, depending upon how people's reactions on their faces, the camera can determine that this person is in a good mood, they're in a bad mood, they're disgusted, they're angry, they're upset, they're agitated, they're anxious. All of these kinds of micro expressions on our face, the cameras, empowered with computer vision, can pick those micro expressions up and then create a conclusion of how the shopper feels. So now, based on the different products and different aisles in different retail stores, theme parks, you name it. Now businesses can get a better picture on how happy their customers are, or in some cases, more importantly, how unhappy their customers are. This kind of information, this is a new frontier in improving the world of customer experience. This is a brand new frontier. And this is the kind of information that businesses that care about having the best possible experience for their customers, this is the kind of technology that they need to adopt. Now, this can apply from, depending upon a perfect example. If you're in the produce section of a grocery store, you can see really quickly that there's a certain subset of people that look frustrated or having a negative reaction on their face based on a certain area of produce. That can help quickly determine there's probably some produce in that area that's going bad. I mean, this is the kind of thing that is going to help businesses quickly be able to create alerts within their employee staff to go and respond to the negative emotional sentiment in that particular section of the store, in that particular section of the shopping plaza, the theme park, you name it, And so this is the kind of thing that is a huge benefit, not just for businesses, but for customers. Another thing that I find really cool about computer vision, and it's another multi-billion-dollar problem that computer vision is going to help solve. And this is actually in the world of workplace safety. So in 2021, there was over $167 billion paid out from businesses to staff and employees and former employees that were injured on the job. So workman's comp, paying out for employee damage, employee injuries. This is $167 billion worth of an issue. Now, I think it's fair that if an employee gets injured on the job, that there should be fair amount of compensation, just like everybody else. We have laws that protect employees for this very reason. But one thing I would like to note is that depending upon the workplace conditions and workplace safety requirements, this can help bring a lot more intelligence to the situation and a lot more context. What do I mean by that? Well, for example, I have seen computer vision be able to look at a certain warehouse, and based on how certain boxes are stacked within the warehouse, the computer vision technology, the machine learning ability, will be able to determine if those boxes have a high probability of falling off of the shelf that they're stacked on just based on how they're arranged. And determining that this particular area of the warehouse is an unsafe area for the human employees inside. This is the kind of thing that can alert or trigger an alert to the management staff of that warehouse to go and fix that problem before someone gets hurt. So now what we're doing is we're using computer vision to be able to prevent people getting injured on the job. Now this is just super cool. Another thing that's important that computer vision can detect is on a construction work site. Is everyone wearing proper headgear? Is everyone wearing the proper eye protection gear? Is everyone wearing gloves? Computer vision can actually help alert construction foremen and operations leaders on a construction site that, hey, 10% of your staff today is not wearing the adequate amount of gloves for this project. Or hey, 15% of your staff today is not wearing the accurate amount of protective gear for the project that you're doing today. Folks, this is not science fiction. This is here, this is now. And here at the Ai.Informed team, we can help make some recommendations on certain technologies that you can adopt for your organization in enabling it with the ability for computer vision. Now, a question I get pretty often is, hey, do I have to, let's say you got an organization and you are a retail store owner, or you own a particular area that has cameras, and you're asking and you're wondering, do I have to replace all my cameras to be able to then replace them with more expensive, newer cameras that also have AI and computer vision built in? The answer to that question is not necessarily. There are a lot of softwares right now that can apply to current existing camera infrastructure, especially cameras that can connect to the internet. So the answer is you don't always necessarily have to replace the current cameras that you do have to be able to benefit from this kind of technology within your organization. The last area that I think computer vision is going to bring real revolution, real change, real benefit is the area of healthcare. So in the area of healthcare, we are now seeing the machine learning algorithms that are applied to vision-based analysis be able to better diagnose certain diseases. In fact, and they're doing it, even though a lot of these algorithms are young, they're doing it a lot better than even some of the most seasoned doctors. So now you have this ability for a computer to look at a CT scan, to look at an MRI scan, to look at an X-ray scan, and be able to detect diseases because it has been trained on millions of other images similar to the one that it's looking at. So imagine the ability to have the diagnosing power of 1,000 doctors in one camera or in one piece of software. Imagine if you have the diagnosing power of 40, 50 years of combined research into one solution. This is now going to help save lives in the world of healthcare. I'm writing a book called AI for Business. Can't wait to share it with you all. But in the book, I share how 795,000 people every year in the US alone die or are permanently disabled simply due to misdiagnosis. Nearly 800,000 people die prematurely or are permanently disabled just because a practitioner or a doctor made a mistake, got the diagnosis wrong. And I'm not speaking ill of our, doctors in the world. We need doctors. I love, that we have doctors to go to. But what I am saying is that just like everything else ran by humans, humans are capable of making mistakes. And that's why bringing computer vision and these image process analysis and this computer vision technology to healthcare is so important. And there are organizations doing this right now that we can help make some recommendations for you. But I'm telling you, this is the area where now computer vision is not just helping save some money. It's not just helping increase, a more better shopping experience. Now it's the difference of life and death for some people. And these are some of the benefits and use cases of computer vision. We're going to be talking about this at length, in more episodes to come. I haven't even had a chance to share about optical character recognition, OCR, which is something that I want to share in later episodes with you. If you found this information interesting, if you thought that this was definitely worth your time, go ahead and let us know what you think about this episode in the comments below. We absolutely love your feedback. We want this to be a conversation with our audience, and we really care about how you feel about the information that we're sharing. And so this is supposed to be a journey in the world of artificial intelligence. AI is changing and adopting and evolving literally week by week. There's new advancements, and there's new announcements, and there's new breakthroughs in AI every single week. So we've got a lot to talk about. So if you have things that you want us to cover particularly on this channel, just let us know. And the goal of this is to continue on this journey together so that we can all be more and more AI informed. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and we'll see everyone again soon.